Hello folks, Reverend Crystal Cox here, and this is a video about the Michael Allman case. What we're doing here is we're establishing the clear discrimination against Michael Allman as a homeless man. Now, Wyatt Ranson at the Port Townsend community page says that people aren't discriminating against him because he's homeless. Well, you can see from prior videos, and I'll put links in the description, that they were ganging up on him. Now, Wyatt and I had a little tuffle there on the site about homeless issues, of that he felt like, okay, so if you give a homeless person $20, what that you somehow get to say how they spend it. Called it squandering. I have some screenshots of that. I will also be posting PDFs of all of that. Wyatt Ranson of the Port Townsend community page has deleted all of the information about Michael Allman. They let everyone trash him, defame him, harm him, and really just stress him out and push him mentally. And when someone come in that bared witness to the truth, me, he went at me. He deleted my post and put his version of reality in place of it when he didn't witness anything. He messaged people that I knew to tell them how horrible I was. And then I showed a video where he is discriminating because he's fine with all the other missing dogs, just not of this homeless guy. So I'm going to show you a few things that he says on the site that's clearly that he discriminates against homeless and believes that most all homeless people are druggies and that they have mental illness. So let's take a look. Port Townsend community page. So when you go to a page like this, Port Townsend community page, you can type in whatever term you're looking for. Now, Michael Allman's been removed from the site. He was banned. That big thread that I did, that 6-part video on Center Valley Animal Rescue, they removed all of his comments. Hours and hours of comments. He responded to every person with his side of the story. They deleted it, and so did this site. Okay, so actually, it's this one I want to see. So, Wyatt Ranson says this. Not all homeless are on drugs, explanation mark. However, illegal, or should I say formally illegal, recreational drugs play a huge part in the majority of homelessness. Okay, so most of us have recreational drugs. Okay, so coffee's a recreational drug, kind of. Cigarettes, do you mean marijuana? Do you mean mushrooms? You mean... What do you mean? And do you have this same opinion of the people that live in houses? Gosh darn it, most time people live in houses because they're drug addicted. Because I know a lot of alcoholics that live in houses in Port Townsend. People that are addicted to heroin and meth live in houses. So this is really not a homeless issue. It's completely discriminatory to say that it's a homeless issue when it's actually a people issue. Some people yes, some people no. Okay, so he says, or recreational drugs combined with mental health issues. Okay, so the majority of us who are homeless have mental health issues. I've been a millionaire. I've owned my own real estate company for 20 years. Okay, I've had all kinds of businesses, built houses and sold houses, had forestry businesses, bakeries. I'm 50 years old. Things happen. And we're not necessarily shooting up the drugs, and we don't have a mental health issue. There is tons of things that happen to people. Fleeing domestic violence. People lose their homes mostly because they lose their jobs and they can't get back in the system. It's about a system that's broken and that doesn't really care about housing people, but cares about spending money on their mental health. And I suggest that Wyatt Ranson study some of the housing first stuff. This to me shows a clear prejudice. This is in March, so this is recent, of the homeless people in general. So gang stalking and malicious mob going after Michael Allman to the point of him almost taking his own life. These guys care nothing about. Okay? They say they didn't discriminate against him. They did. And why is that Reverend Crystal Cox still going on and on about it? Because today is March 15th, 2021, and Michael doesn't have his dog. And I stay in contact with him via email. And he has a partner now. He has a gal that really cares about him. So he has at least the both of us hanging on and letting him know that he matters. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened. Not anything that these people care about. So this video is to paint a clear discrimination against homeless people by Wyatt Ranson of the Port Townsend community page, which has thousands of members of the Port Townsend community. And they only get painted one side because our comments get removed. I had a lot of support. A lot of people said a lot of really cool things. And Michael gave his side. And we posted facts and we posted eyewitness. He deleted it all to protect the narrative that discriminated against the homeless and ganged up with the lynch mob at Center Valley Animal Rescue. And now they're driving it home with Deputy Prosecutor Melissa Plyman. Okay, so whatever happens, there will be transparency, I guarantee you that. Okay, it is an addiction issue that some struggle with. So now it's some. If you actually legitimately eliminate drugs, which includes some unwelcome, uncomfortable actions, that would be a huge start. So he's the moral authority on that, right? And really anything can be considered a drug. Emotional addictions, abusing people on this site. Can't continue an addiction to something you have no access to or is unavailable. Yeah, you can, because it's in your mind. So what I do at my church is help people to heal the emotional issues connected with things, okay? I didn't just go, okay, well, you can't have it. So what, you're saying send them to rehab? Well, that would be great. They'd have a place to live. But instead, they're starving and freezing in tents and you're stealing their dogs because you're prejudiced against them. Or ganging up with the prominent people, as your message said, to take people's dogs. Not just any people, as we've seen in prior videos, but a homeless man who doesn't really have a voice. Fortunately, he was sleeping in a car next to me, sleeping in a car. And I have given sworn testimony, of which this man says, I don't know anything about, because I don't know Michael's history. He seems to think that if I bear witness to something that people are saying was a crime, and I give testimony to support that it didn't happen, that I need to know the history of everybody involved. And his bio says something about studying criminal justice. Kind of scary. All right, so we're just going to read some of this. Most or all, if you want a copy, I took a screenshot. So my email is ReverendCrystalCox@gmail.com. And most of you might even be part of the Port Townsend community page. I can't be. Michael can't be. Anybody who likes Michael can't be because we've all been banned. All right. We can still see it. We can't comment. But I'm in, I have multiple Facebook pages. So anyway, I can read it. Okay. Most or all employees can't take on the liability or run a business with someone who has an addiction issue. Okay, so what he's doing here is going back and forth with addiction and homeless. So he's generalizing that, almost as if what people live in houses don't have addictions. They do. You just don't see them every day because they don't live in the street. Okay, and you don't have a prejudice against them because they live in a house. If a woman can be given murder or attempted murder charge for feeding arsenic to her husband, these same rules should apply to drug dealers and traffickers. Well, my extremely good friend Wayne was homeless and into hard drugs when he was younger and had an addiction issue. He finally got away from the drugs and conquered his issue. He now owns 2 airplanes. Ooh-wee. Sick. Runs his own very successful business. Yeah, I've done all that too. I stood up for something amazing and had a landmark legal case that changed the world. I've fought for justice and fought for victims. This is your idea of success, is having some planes? I've had all these businesses. Michael's had a business. Your value system is busted. And it is a reflection of the Port Townsend community. Because a lot of people agree with him. There are very good homeless people. There are very good homeless people. So why not they're very good people? Okay, so people can do something illegal or not. They can be of high integrity or not. They can be addicts or not. They can be thieves or not. Whether they live in a house or not is irrelevant. Okay, so this shows that they lump together the homeless and they try to judge them and they think they get to tell us what our problem is and what our issue is because they can see us. Okay, the people in the houses have issues. It's like he's saying that there's no reason to use the word homeless in front of people It just shows he has a clear prejudice. There are very good homeless people, and they can do amazing when they aren't held down by drug addiction. I'm not held down by drug addiction. I sold a blog once for $3,000, something else for $7,000, still couldn't get into housing here. Okay, I've done something. How do you know we haven't done something amazing and then became homeless? Oh, even us homeless people we could do something amazing, like Wyatt Ranson, if we just put our mind to it and just help with the mental issues and put down that crack pipe. You know, this is so messed up and so stereotyping. And the reason I'm doing it is not to vilify this man, but to show that there was clear discrimination in the Michael Ullman case. And all of these Facebook pages that ganged up against him, hundreds and hundreds of people ganged up against him and then said, we're not discriminating against the homeless. It could happen to anybody. Baloney. Okay, baloney. Okay, now he owns 2 airplanes, very successful business, one step away from a multi-engine commercial license paid for by himself, over $80,000. Guess what, Wyatt? I was a millionaire. I've made real estate commissions over $150,000. What the hell does that have to do with anything? You are prejudiced against homeless. And you're using that prejudice on this Port Townsend community page to harm other people's real lives to the point of them almost killing themselves. Okay? You have no integrity and clear discrimination. And I'm not saying this directly to this man in this video. I'm saying this to everyone on the Port Townsend community page and everyone that has these same prejudices. Okay? Each individual is different. We're all homeless for different reasons. We're all people. We all have different degrees and different backgrounds. I seen this article again the other day. It always just shocks me, right? They're like, this homeless woman, she could sing really well. Oh my God. Or this homeless person, look at him play the piano. As if we never had a life before being homeless. We were born on the street. We were, fed by, we got our water from a fire hydrant, and we've lived our whole lives on the street. We've never known anything but being homeless. It is a clear discrimination and prejudice. Okay. Even if they struggle with mental health, half or more of the battle is gone by eliminating illegal recreational drugs and not enabling it or turning a blind eye to it. Okay, drug addicts live in houses too. So what you're talking, like there was a recent thing here, right, where one of the local band members died because there was an OD in some situation. It has nothing to do, these mental health, all these issues, has nothing to do with whether you have a house or not. Live in a tent, live in a car, live in a home. Okay? Different people have different things going on. Not just lumping together them as homeless people, okay? You're not the moral authority on me, why I'm homeless, okay? You are not the moral authority. Now, the reason, again, I'm doing this is to show clear discrimination and a community ganging up on one homeless man that has been in the community for 14 years. Had a family, had his pets, had his construction business doing his thing. Okay? Fell on hard times, and they all ganged up on him. Sick, malicious mob. Okay, so, white-collar crime. Okay, white-collar crime. I don't know if you all pay attention, but plenty of money floating around through government and nonprofits. Not mine. It's like they farm homeless to generate tax money and grants. Okay, I agree with him. And I've painted that. They definitely do. And like all the money they paid out at the fairgrounds, ridiculous. They could have housed people. They could have built houses, just to spread money around for those people. I totally agree with that. They do little in the way to solve the problem. Agree. They do little things here and there to show something is being done, but with really no goal. Right. And Ole Cap gets $7 million a year. And he says, I'm not speaking about Ole Cap. Right? Because he's an ass kisser. Right? So over there, he was speaking his mind about housing and the site. I was really agreeing with him. I'm like, that's good. And then he went in and went, oh, I'm sorry. Because one of the prominent people, smacked him on the tail or something. And he come back and said he was sorry for what he said. So he's not speaking about Ole Cap. For those of you who don't know, Ole Cap is a foundation here, a nonprofit here in Jefferson County. $7 million a year. They do not help the homeless. Yeah, they help them to survive. That's beautiful. But they give them mental issues. Check out My Night at the Shelter. They are not a solution. They I have a pretty good resume. I had chunks of money. I have a vehicle. I have a passport, driver's license, mailbox, all that. They couldn't help me get a house. They do not help people. Okay, they pick and choose who they help. It's prejudice. It's all about money for them. And when chunks of money come in, they're used to build mental facilities so they can tell us how stupid we are, how wrong we are. If they're going to build a mental institute or mental place for people, why not do it for every single person in every house? Why say it's for the low income? If you can't afford a house, you got a mental issue. No, we live in a sick society that cares about capitalism and doesn't care about people. We live in a sick society who wants to pick the dogs up off the street and put them indoors to keep warm and leave the human lay there. Okay? Okay, so definitely, he says he's not speaking about OLICAP. OLICAP's pretty much the only one to speak about. They're the ones here. They're the problem. However, Port Townsend provides us with that beautiful Cherry Street project to help house 8 families, and that's still vacant. Okay, so he don't dare speak against OLICAP, but so he's complaining a teeny tiny bit. You know, he's scared of the prominent people. You could tell by the way he acted. So if someone come in here and said, hey, don't say that, he probably wouldn't say it. The Cherry Street Project, porttownsendnews.blogspot.com, and I have a link there to that Port Townsend Free Press guy that's done some pretty good write-ups on that. Okay, and now Bayside. Well, seems there's a lot of questions Bayside doesn't have answers for, but somehow are trusted with hundreds of thousands or more tax money. Yeah, and OLICAP is $7 million a year. Okay, but trusted with hundreds of thousands. Okay, the church in Hadlock seems to be literally the only one actually helping the homeless. Oh, really? Would that be my church? My church is now out here in Hadlock. Which church is actually helping the homeless? And, you know, man, he jumped in one, and what is the inn out here, the old alcohol plant or whatever. He's like, they're doing great things. And he was really promoting something they were doing. And I thought that was kind of interesting because he completely ignored the previous testimony from someone who'd stayed out there, a homeless person who'd stayed out there and talked about all the issues. You know, he's clearly painting one side, which is fine. A person has an opinion, but not when you run a site of thousands of people and acts like it represents the Port Townsend community. You have the homeless caught between illegal drugs, lack of mental health care, and white-collar crime. Yep, that's what I'm caught through, right? The homeless. Why not just people? You have people caught between illegal drugs, lack of mental health, and white-collar crime. It's affecting all the people. Okay, the homeless are a commodity, but I don't need mental health care. Perhaps you do. Perhaps a lot of people that live in houses. I do not need mental health care. Okay? And I have met a lot of homeless people, and each person is, guess what? A person. Okay? There are alcoholics and drug addicts in a lot of the houses in Port Townsend. Probably 50% at least. And if you add the ladies' night bottle of wine every night and the old, you know, we just have a 6-pack a night, it's just what we do. Probably 60-70% of the households are addicted to something. And you're the moral police on that, or just for the homeless? Okay, so just imagine what the church could have done with all the money Port Townsend had for the Cherry Street project in Bayside. Yeah, exactly. Just imagine if recreational drugs were not part of the issue. Recreational drugs? Are you talking about marijuana? Because marijuana actually helps people with post-traumatic stress. Talking about coffee? How about cigarettes? Alcohol? What are you talking about, Mr. I'm better than everyone else? Again, not all homeless are on drugs. Oh, thank you. Why would you even have to say that? Who would assume that all of us are on drugs? Asinine thing to say. They aren't, and I can speak for that. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. As I worked at the fairgrounds for a while, oh, so you're new to the issue, because they haven't been at the fairgrounds very long. So you worked with the homeless, so now you get it? You discriminate against the homeless to the point of them wanting to kill themselves. You're evil, okay? You're not a do-gooder. But to deny drugs are a huge contribution would be foolish. Yes, out there, because there was actual drug trafficking that was not paid attention to. There was people that were being harmed and bullied, and nobody was being arrested. Okay? There was serious crimes that people were allowed to keep doing. Because the prominent people, they want to arrest people like Michael, who's still going through hell in a criminal trial for loving his dog. Okay? So, start asking questions to government. These grand ideas Port Townsend and Bayside have. Pay close attention to the questions they don't ask. The money trail never lies, and I'm willing to bet the homeless definitely aren't getting the majority of it. Exactly. And follow the money trail was not the motto with Michael, was it? Because Center Valley Animal Rescue's charging him $11,000 approximately with a lien that they premeditated 1 to 2 years before to steal his property, and you ganged up on that bandwagon. So again, I'm doing this just to show you the clear discrimination against homeless and mental issues in their voice. Okay, so also another comment he had down here, December 2020. So I first met, I've never met him, but I first started commenting on this site about mid-December. So this was right before that. Of course, in the naming of housing the homeless nonetheless, you have a Port Townsend business economy that is basically tanked. You have so-called team of financial wizards with resumes longer than the Hood Canal Bridge about how financially Jedi they are, yet somehow misappropriated hundreds of thousands of dollars that Fort Worden needed. Okay, so let's see more about this. Why couldn't they house people at Fort Worden? Goodness. So I guess that was just a comment that he made. So for millions spent, all these failed plans with the Cherry Street project and affordable housing, why, for whatever reason, should anyone expect a different outcome with the $600,000? Okay. And remember, in the last money, they said they could spend $600,000 to build a mental facility so they could figure out what's wrong with us. Okay. Okay, so I'm just trying to paint that Wyatt has issues and that it affected this ownership. But okay, thank you. It's hard to swallow anything with help the homeless when it feels like taxpayers are being blundered for millions and millions. Okay, right. So they don't actually help us homeless. They vilify us, and then they use the money to enrich themselves, and then the taxpayers get mad at the homeless while the people who run off with the money run off with the money. Anyway, so the point is showing a prejudice here by this site. Okay, a Russian family, January 10th, who was virtually homeless. Oh, so not homeless, but virtually. With nothing more than the clothes on their back and suitcases in their hand without a word of English. We got them on their feet, and I'd like to report back that their family paved the way so that Port Angeles, okay, they have a new doctor helping the community, very good people. Okay, where was this compassion for Michael? Because Michael wasn't virtually homeless, and he wasn't Russian, he wasn't like foreign, and he's at 14-year been here, got a kid, got a life, got a dog, and you were not any kind to him. You didn't help him get on his feet. You didn't even have the decency to not let people vilify and defame and trash him. This person, I don't know if they're homeless. What about the homeless that live out of the power lines outside of town? There's about a handful, including myself. I enjoy it in the woods more because it's private, no drama. I also have an aggressive dog who's been through domestic violence, so he isn't adoptable out at Pound, but he is a protector for me and a wonderful dog. I do have pack water, and I've been homeless for 2 years. So what about this man's dog? Right? So homeless people need to have more rights, and there's a clear discrimination in Port Townsend. And that's what let's just read one more of Wyatt's comments. I wouldn't look for support from the local government. They have plundered all the taxpayers in the name of housing the homeless, right? And they haven't housed us. Yet have yielded zero results because they didn't really want to or try, except a nice yard decoration they imported from Canada. There are, however, a lot of independent good community members here who do put their money at where their mouth is. Okay, well, the money that's granted to OLICAP and the city and all these things for homeless should not be. It should be on debit cards or whatever and go directly to help the homeless. Okay, it's caused a huge rift in the community. And the Michael Allman case is really showing and exploiting that, because of the vicious attack, vicious discrimination of a lynch mob. And even this guy, who seems to be like not necessarily in support of how the local government's behaving with it all, right? Even he ganged up on Michael and then messaged people about how I just don't know what I'm talking about, which we went over in prior videos. Yeah, let him stay at Fort Worden. Could have, but no, too much greed. This is definitely a commercial. Like, let's do tourism and let's sell our soul, and let's not be like for organics and the culture that Port Townsend, you know, it's all about tourism, and Fort Worden sitting empty for a year because of greed. And then all the theft of the prominent people out there. I mean, you've been reading about allegedly on the board and all that. I don't know what really, look into that yourself, but being homeless doesn't mean not working, does not mean addiction or mental health. There are plenty of us that are one paycheck away from homeless. Or they homeless because they work a job with low pay and housing. Yeah, I've had plenty of chunks of money at time, could not get into housing. Okay. One quick idea I have is the mill has tons of wood pallets they destroy or chop away. So they want us to live in pallet houses, while the mill uses 11 million gallons of water, pure water a day, poisons it, puts it into the bay. I mean, you can read my stuff on the Port Townsend paper mill. I mean, that's a whole nother corruption racket, and they get block grants and all kinds of money. So the system's all messed up, folks. There's a lot of changes that will be happening, but right now I'm pointing out the clear discrimination by this man and this site of Michael Allman, who every trace of him has been removed now. There's nearly 3,000 members. So this isn't, this is a big part of the community, and what it did was it really harmed this man. And this Wyatt Ranson is a leader by having thousands of people on the site, and that's where I heard about the story. I'm not on the site now because, of course, I've been banned. But he allowed this to happen. I saw it play out. And then when people came in and gave firsthand testimony that told the truth about Michael, he defamed us maliciously. He sent messages about me. He removed what I had to say. He lied about me. He discriminated against me. And he discriminated against Michael. And so the point of this video is to point out his clear discrimination against Michael Allman for being homeless. God has blessed you all. Email me if you have any questions at ReverendCrystalCox@gmail.com.